what's allowed to call back, but yeah, don't think I'm going to go too hard tonight. I went really hard working out yesterday, so but did get that short out earlier, and start documenting my progress with things, showing my achievements, my skills, and trying to inspire others to do the same. So yeah, sorry I'm late, guys. Just been a bit distracted, but I'm here now. It's a little bit more kind of fresh now. This weather, yeah. And not everyone likes it like really hot, but I guess you can get used to it though. If it stays that way, then you've got to get used to it after a while. But anyway, so yeah, just gonna do a bit of a workout. Go to the park, just do some kind of basic sort of exercise and things. And yeah, just hope everyone's well. Share this out if you can. Hello, how's it going here? Getting a bit cool now, actually. Did that a bit earlier where it seemed to kind of go cool, but then it started to warm again. I don't know, so it's really unpredictable, this weather, isn't it? It started to just seem like we were just getting too much like good weather, but we are supposed to get some good weather for the rest of the week, so it does look pretty dull in the sky at the moment, so hopefully they haven't opened up on me on this thing, but you just never know with this great British weather, do you? Yeah. Feel free to ask questions, everybody. Hit that like button, guys. So yeah, just on the way down to the park and do a workout. I don't know, just hope everyone's had a good day today. Yeah, I've been just really dialed in on the training, and that's something I want to do. Try and do everything right, make sure that I'm doing enough, make sure that I'm recovering and all that kind of stuff. So it's about getting it right, not just working harder but smarter. But you don't want to work too hard, because then that can actually hinder your results. Some people have this idea that more is more, but then beyond a certain point, more becomes less, because you're just going to end up burning yourself out, breaking yourself down to a point where it's no longer healthy, it's no longer good. You're like overtraining, your body cannot recover from all that. You have to find that sweet spot that's right for you, to where your body's going to adapt to the stress, but not too much stress to where your body can't adapt to it. So kind of enough but not too much. That's a Goldilocks zone, if you will. And if you can strike that right balance, then that's gonna really help to propel you in your fitness. Finding that right balance of doing enough to stimulate the outcome, not too much to where your body cannot adapt because of all the stress. So some stress on the body is good, but not too much. Like, people think that stress is a bad thing, but it really depends on the type of stress. It's acute stress that is actually good for you, but chronic stress is bad, because it's what they call unresolved stress. So basically, like, constant stress, because it's actually in the recovery from that stress that we actually build resilience, and that actually helps us to deal with stress better and become more more resilient. So yeah, it is dull here at the moment. Like, I felt like a spot of rain before, but hopefully it's not going to start chucking it down. But yeah, what's it like where you are? Is it cloudy there or anything, or just quite dull here at the moment? It's just grey, overcast sky, but it is what it is. It's not too bad. I don't mind it like this. Nice and feels nice and fresh. So yeah, but yeah, the thing is like, it's better when, I think it's better when like it's sunny, like with the sunny skies and stuff. But then again, if it's, but I don't know, some people might find that that's a bit too much on the senses. Like, it can be like, if you're, some people struggle with light sensitivity and stuff like that, and some people might like to just go out with sunglasses on all the time to help with that, but it depends on each individual really. But I don't mind it like this. It's just nice and relaxing when it's yeah, it's not as intense feeling, but yeah, but I do feel more energized in the you know, in the hot sunny weather. Depending on if it's too hot, then that can drain me, but having that right balance of heat and sun, that can make me feel like I can do anything. I don't know if anyone's ever had that feeling where they feel like they can do anything. It's that right sort of temperature and that heat and the sun, and I feel like I can just have more energy. I can a lot more power, and I don't know. Whereas in winter time it can feel like everything's a struggle, but it really depends, because then if it's too hot, then that can also have that similar effect where you just feel drained and just, yeah, you just feel like you don't want to really do anything. Hello, One Dark Rep, how you doing? Good to see you. Hope you've had a good day today. I'm going to try and do a bit of a workout, but might just take a little bit easier, because yesterday was pretty darn intense. I just did that short earlier, but yeah, did a couple of bits, like some of the face pulls and stuff, but like, I'm just going to do some few bits here. But yeah, I don't want to go too intense necessarily, because like I said, you've got to make sure that your body can, you know, like, have enough recovery and not stress it too much. Otherwise, what's the point? You're just like burning yourself out for nothing. It's just wasting your time. Because actually in the time when you're not training is when your body grows, not when you're training. Some people think that like you're literally growing as you're training. It doesn't work like that. You know, it's like that's when we stop growing, is when we're training. But it's the training that gives you that stimulus to grow. That's what people need to understand, really. So yeah. Anyway, how's everybody doing tonight? Just not gonna like, probably go too hard. See how we feel really, but yeah, I'm just gonna do some of these. It's like a easier version of like a pull-up. So. Alright. I'm getting a lot of calluses on my skin, really. So you're gonna rip off soon. Where the hell is everybody tonight? It's so dead in here. I don't know. Just nice, man. Okay. Yeah, it's gonna, like I said, go a little bit easier. I'm not, every day you don't have to just friggin' bust your ass, do you know? Some days you can just kind of take your time with it and just go a little bit easier, you know? But what have you been up to? I did like 90 kilograms on the squat the other day, like to yesterday, for like 5 reps on one of the sets that I did. So I'm quite happy about that, really. It's the most I've done on, well, most weight I've done on a squat. I don't know if I could have done more reps, but I don't want to risk doing that stuff because I don't want to risk going to failure, because I'm just, yeah, I've heard all sorts of bad shit happen then, but yeah, I just want to make sure I'm doing everything safely. And yeah, well, some people would use like a what is it, Smith machine, but then it's like if you're using a Smith machine, that takes out the stability part of it, so it's arguably like less functional. But some might say it's best to combine both. I don't know. What do you guys think? Is there a use for a Smith machine? You could say, well, it's safer to go to true muscular failure on it, and then you can just kind of like lock the weight in place. Yeah, I won't get injured, don't worry about that. Let's do a bit of biceps, I think. What we're saying is free weight 100%. Yeah, I've heard people saying that like that you can't push as much force with machines because of something to do with, because you can't activate all the muscles or something, so because it's locked in a certain kind of movement pattern, so it can like kind of lock your muscles into a certain way of movement, if you will. Whereas with free weights, it can allow muscles to activate in different ways and allow for greater force. So machines are arguably better at like isolating muscles, but not as good for like generating force, I guess. I mean, you could argue, well, you can go heavier on certain exercises like Smith machine and stuff, but that's because it takes out the stability component, but they also have disadvantages as well. That, I mean, it's just not natural, is it, to be using machines? It's like, well, where you find a machine in nature? I mean, but then again, where do you find a barbell in nature? Well, I suppose it's functional in a sense that, like, if we're like pressing weight or something, then you could say, well, in a more functional way, you could argue it would be more like if we were pressing weight away from you, like say you're trying to push a certain object away or pull an object towards you, which would probably train the muscles differently to how you would in a bench press. But yeah, this whole thing of functional training, it's like when people doing deadlifts, that's not a functional move really, is it? I mean, it might be in certain instances, but to like improve total fitness, I think having like a, where you're actually like picking up logs or something like that, heavy logs, and you're like having to kind of like grab them like this, so you're using a lot of like biceps to do that. You're requiring a lot more like of that, and it's like you're having to use different muscles. So like with these kind of like weights and stuff, whether it's free weights or machines, a lot of them are just kind of, it's like, with these convenient handles and stuff, and it's just, it doesn't really train functionality that well, because yeah, so people saying functional training is a scam. It's like, well, what do you mean it's a scam? It's like, if you want to become more functional, then there's certain exercises are probably going to be better than what you have in the gym, like a lot of the time, like the weights that they're using. It's like, because the only function of them is mainly for getting stronger in that specific way and building muscle. You could say, well, that's functional in a sense, but we're talking function in like the real world sense, in terms of how well does this apply to real world scenarios. So yeah, it's just it might even mean that you don't necessarily want to get too muscular, because then that could take away from certain functions, like if you're getting so muscular that you can't even, you know, climb the stairs without getting out of breath, then are you actually really fit? You know, this is the thing. It's like, you know, you hear people talk about fitness, but actually they're far from it. Hang on, just do it that way. The bar is a bit high, really, but try and tuck your legs in to kind of just helps give a bit more height to it. So, but yeah, a lot of movements, and I wouldn't necessarily say that that's functional. I would even say this isn't necessarily, because when you get this sort of thing in nature, you know. But hi, Sherba, good to see you. How are you doing? Hope you're doing well. Thank you for joining me tonight, everybody. Who's still in here then? Hit the like button. Thank you for the likes, everybody. Might do some kind of push-ups and stuff, but yeah, I'm not sure. I'm just gonna like I said, I'm not going super hard with it. Just kind of have a bit of a chat, do a few sets, you know. Just don't want to put too much pressure on myself tonight, because it's like, you just gotta listen to your body. So I don't want to end up waking up tomorrow and be like, fuck's sake, I've gone too far with it. It can actually end up affecting your mood if you go too hard, especially when you're doing full body workouts. It's like, you could just end up feeling like just drained. Even a lot of people on like hard leg days or something, you know, and they wake up the next day and they're like, it just messes them up for the whole next day, you know, because all that systemic fatigue, all that just can even, you know, affect your mental health. Hello, Mum, how are you doing? Hope you're well. So yeah, it's just all that systemic fatigue that's there, you know, sort of, but yeah, just hope everyone's well. What's everybody been up to today? Hope everyone's had a good one. Yeah, just doing a couple of exercises. I'll try and do it with a wider grip this time. It trains the lats a little bit differently, so. So I hope everyone's well today. Make sure you subscribe if you're new here, guys. So yeah, you heard you've been quite busy, Mum, haven't you? So I just want to like, yeah, just kind of like make sure to like get everything in place and just, yeah. But at least it's keeping you going, and maybe it can help you do your weight loss. It'd be good to, yeah, for you to get into a good routine with that, and yeah, just do some just daily movement and stuff. That way you can sort of, yeah. Just get rid of that weight. Like you said, it's not good for you, is it, to be carrying around all that extra fat? There's a lot of inflammation and stuff that it can cause on the body. So, you know, all these people say, oh, you know, you can be healthy at this size. Well, really? You might be healthy right now, but, you know, and then they start to get all these problems in like 10 years time or whatever, and they're like, oh, actually, I wish I'd have, you know. It's just, and the thing is, these are the first people to queue up for like Ozempic or whatever bullshit, you know. They're just like, so it goes to show how bullshit it all is, you know, because anyway, how are you doing? Got 7 people in the house. Welcoming everybody. Hope you've had a good day. Make sure you subscribe if you're new here. Make sure you like the live. So what do you guys want to talk about then? Feel free to bring things up if you want. But yeah, so I'm here to promote just general fitness and just well-being, and just kind of bust a lot of these myths out there about certain things, because there is a lot of things that people still believe in that are just completely untrue about diets and things like that. That it's like there's people who try to deny that calories matter and all that. It's like calories, of course, matter, you know, but obviously that's not the whole thing. Of course, you know, certain foods it can be easier to overeat on and stuff like that, but we've got to try and just, you know, just ignore all this nonsense about certain diets that people believe are somehow some kind of magical thing for everybody. The truth is that different diets can work for different people, depending on even things like, you know, tastes and stuff like that, that some people struggle with, like, say, because they might have a sweet tooth, so, you know, it can be difficult. Now you could say, well, you could get some fake sweetener or whatever, but I don't know. Maybe that's not for everybody. And some people may not even like the taste of those. I don't know. Because some of those sweeteners can not taste right. Hi, Joe. I mean, I'm getting bigger, so, like, I don't need all that shit, you know? This is what I mean with all these people trying to, like, push their diet onto you, you know? I'm getting results with what I'm doing, so I'm just going to listen to my body and do what my body needs. Because if you know how much I actually gained in muscle size just in the last few months, then, like, yeah, you know, it's like, it goes to show that, you know, if it's a diet that you can stick to and that you enjoy, and then you don't need to follow someone else's advice, is what I'd say. Like, you just, I mean, everybody's all trying to kind of, you know, put out their opinion as though it's fact. There's a lot of kind of like bullshit out there that just trying to spew. Go look at the picture that I put on my page the other day. That was my before and after. So anyway, how are you guys doing? I hope you're all well. Feel free to ask questions, everybody. Oh yeah, I'll just do some rolls, I think. There's all these people like, oh, you know, I think it's like that friggin' Kingdale Clark person, just like, I don't know, I think he's just a troll or something. It's just so obsessed. It's like, I don't know. And someone was using his name in here, and it was probably him. Like, and then he was apparently saying that someone was using his name, pretending to be him or something. It's probably just another like kind of attempt at trolling, some kind of like trolling tactic that they're using to try and come into a chat, pretend it wasn't them when really it was. I mean, they were pretending to be. I mean, it's like, yeah, it's just. Is it just some kind of gaslighting bullshit? I don't know. I don't know what to believe. There's some way to kind of like confuse me, just to be like, oh well, he seems to be kind of like, you know. I thought, oh, maybe he's, you know, kind of like. I was just kind of like, yeah. I thought, okay, is he really for real? But it was probably his way of trying to get inside my head and be like, oh, it wasn't him. Oh, okay. So Dale's just still at his bullshit, and then just doing all this fucking Jekyll and Hyde bullshit what he was doing. Because I remember when he first used to come on my chats and stuff, and then he was always bigging me up and always commenting on my progress and shit, just to then fucking be a fucking snake. I can't be doing with people like that who will just kind of, you know, it's just, some people need some serious help. And yeah, they'll try and make you feel like there's something wrong with you when it's them. Okay, thank you, Max. You're not staying here all then, or just kind of taking it slow tonight, because I went pretty hard yesterday with all my training and stuff. Did a mixture of different things really, so just don't want to overdo it. Maybe I could do some push-ups on this thing. Might do that actually. So I'll just put the bag down here and I can show you the parallel bar push-ups. Thing is, you don't really want to take it out to total failure, because then there's a risk of like falling off the damn thing if you lose your strength, and then you're like, I don't know, I don't want to be risking anything. Right, let's just sort this out. I'm just trying to get a good angle for you guys. So, all right. How's everyone doing? Hope you're all well. Who's still in here then? What do you think of that then? It's feeling a little bit dangerous, but never had any problems. Never fell off the thing. As long as it ain't wet. If it's wet, I won't bother, because it's when it gets slippery, you know, not a good idea. Yeah, just gotta be a bit, you know, careful really. Anyway, maybe I could do some pistols, but I don't know. Trying to think what to do really. Got the sit-up bench. Got this like chest press machine. Most I've done on it so far was like 42. Maybe I could give it a try and see where we can go with it. See if I can surpass my record. So let's just go on it and see how we do. Yeah. Alright, so I ask people to talk about diet but then just close it off. Because, you know, it's just like I mean, it's a very one-sided thing. Like, to me, I talk about diet in terms of eating clean and just in general, just not eating too much processed stuff, eating the right amount of food, that kind of stuff. But in terms of the specifics, in terms of like, but my personal opinion is that humans are frugivorous, mainly. That doesn't mean we can't eat other things, but I think like, yeah, we're just there's a lot of like bullshit in the diet and fitness culture and all that. Anyway, let's just give this a go. Just have a sec and then we'll just get into it. Like I said, I want to see if I can surpass my record. So I keep my feet off the ground, because if you have them on the ground, then it's like, I think it's a bit easier or something. Probably because you're able to like put more force into it or something. But yeah, I'm gonna get started. So one. Fuck. But yeah, it's just, I mean, I suppose we all have biases and stuff, but the whole red meat thing, it's like, I don't think there's really any evidence that it's superior for building muscle or anything like that. There's also potential harms of eating too much of it as well, but there's people trying to deny that. But I think like, if you're eating stuff in moderation, like, it probably doesn't really matter what it is specifically, but like, I think just generally, I think the message should be on limiting processed foods and just trying to eat a generally healthy diet. It doesn't have to be 100%, but like, but there's just a lot of myths out there, and just, I can't be asked trying to argue with people who, it's like when people say carbs are bad for you, it's like, there's a lot of nuance to it, and these people just are either just too stupid or ignorant to understand it, or they have some kind of biases, or they want to just believe in something else for whatever reason. internet. And a lot of this health and fitness stuff, you think, oh, it's all wholesome content, it's about fitness and all that kind of stuff. But in reality, a lot of that's brain rot as well. It's like when you get all this, like, you know, carnivore diet and all this fucking bullshit. Like, yeah, it's just it's a joke. Most of these people don't even know what they're talking about. So I don't get into arguing about diet because it's a very nuanced topic, and it's just, it's like I have my own personal views. I don't need to get into arguments about it, and everyone's got their own views, but I think we should just kind of agree on try to eat clean, whatever that means to you. Just, you know, if it's really refined, then it's probably not going to be very good for you. Oh no, that's not good. Welcome in, anyway. Yeah, you're saying that you sometimes watch on TV, but yeah, I just can't be bothered with all the nonsense that a lot of these people spew about diet, and it's just another form of brain rot to me, a lot of it. Oh, don't eat this particular food because it causes this. It's like they probably just found some, you know, dodgy study that, you know, poor sample size or just not very good control. It's like, I don't know, it's just, there's a lot of biases out there, and yeah, it's difficult to know even like what like a diet would be like, a good one. So, I mean, is in like, well, there's good diets, was in like the perfect diet. You've got people like Brian Johnson who has his own kind of narrative on what's the perfect human diet, but you know, it's like everyone's got their own version of that. If it works for you, then fine, but it's like we need to also realize that what works for one person might not work for everybody. Everyone's got different genetics, and yeah, obviously what I do is working for me. I've gained size, it's getting fitter, and the thing is that even if whatever diet I have means I don't gain muscle quite as fast, who cares? Because building too much muscle may not even be good anyway. You know, there's downsides to building excess amounts of muscle as well, because your cardiovascular fitness may actually be compromised. It's like, you know, you're probably going to gas out quicker if you have more muscle. It's just, that's the thing. So I think we should be trying to focus on being more well-rounded, and in my opinion, this is going back to the whole functional fitness in terms of, you know, it's no good being able to pick up all this heavy weight if you're just going to gas out quickly. You need to be able to pick up a heavy weight and then be able to move it and keep on repeating that, and be able to keep that endurance going. That is what functionality is about. Say, being able to pick up some log that's like 50 kilograms, you know, carry it down the, you know, 100 meters or whatever, come back, do it again, or, you know, run back, carry another one, go down, run back. It's like, you know, if you can do that, I would say, yeah, you're fit. If you can't just keep doing that, then you're not really fit, in my opinion. You haven't got the fitness to carry out these manual tasks like that involve a lot of heavy lifting, but also have a lot of endurance and also speed, then yeah, it's like you have no idea what you have no clue what fitness is at all. You just, yeah, because they have this one-sided view on what fitness is. And what I'm saying is fitness isn't just about being good in one way and being able to lift all these heavy weights, and because a lot of times they're not even doing it in a way that's functional. It's just a complete joke to me. It's all about aesthetics, you know? Everyone's all become so obsessed with aesthetics. They should just call it aesthetics, not fitness. Yeah, call it about, you know, kind of looks maxing or whatever, but it has nothing to do with fitness. Just because you can lift heavy doesn't mean you're fit. Because if you're, you know, getting winded going up a big flight of stairs or something, then how can you call yourself fit? It's an absolute joke to me that when people use that word like it has to do with a body image. Hello Richard, how are you doing? Good to see you again. So I just maxed out on this chest press thing, 43 reps. I was getting a bit of that kind of lactic acid thing towards the end, but yeah, well that would have just gone, you know, 1 rep above my max, so yeah, so I'm happy on that. So maybe you should try it. I reckon you'd probably maybe get to about 20, but yeah. Hello Cassitio, how you doing? Hope you're doing well. Feel free to ask questions. Have you stopped tingling? It was just that stuff I was taking. It doesn't really tingle that much if you split out the dose of it throughout the day. It's only when you take too much at once that's when you get that feeling. But it's yeah, it's just anyway. I hope everyone's well. Feel free to ask questions, guys. Right, what we're doing next? Maybe I'll do a few jump squats actually. Yeah, let's do that. Let's say I'm going a little bit easier tonight, but I still wanted to get a bit of a workout in. Just don't want to get carried away with it. I was thinking about doing something kind of crazy, but it's probably not a good idea. How we're doing tonight, everybody? I hope you're all well. Going out on the bike as it's not a nice eve. Yeah, this is another thing. Some of these guys, they get super heavy, fit, and they couldn't ride a bike up a hill because they've got all this extra bulk on them. Like I was watching this video, I think it was on GCN, Global Cycling Network. They took this bodybuilder up, I think it was like 120 kilograms, so it was a massive guy. I think he was quite tall, but he was like 120 kilograms. Just over 20 kilograms heavier than me, so... And the guy was struggling, he had to keep stopping, and it was really like agonizing. Like, yeah, he pretty much collapsed. And he got to the top of there. He had all this extra mass on him. It can become really difficult when going up hills because all that extra bulk. Also, it probably doesn't really train, you know, cardio that much, I'm guessing. Obviously, the more you train cardio, then the better you're going to get at that. But what tends to happen is bodybuilders also don't really necessarily train to get good at cardio as much. So then, when they try and do things like riding up a hill, then, especially if it's a long hill, maybe if it's just a short burst, they can do that, have that muscle power. But when it comes to anything more endurance based, they're going to struggle with that. A lot of them, they haven't built up that stamina. So this whole thing of, you know, like they became more functional to be able to do that better. But yeah, there are some dip bars for triceps. Yeah, that's good. I've got these bars, these parallel bars here, so can anyone do the impossible dip? Because there's very few people that seem to be able to do that. But yeah, I think, well, Running Boy said I think he could be able to do it if he had proper bars set up for it, but I don't think I'd be able to do it. I was seeing if I could do like explosive dips, but they are very difficult to do because you have to generate enough power to explode up. It's like a jump in. It's like the jump in push-ups are a little bit easier, I think. But I think it's because it doesn't require as much force or something. But the colour chroma, because oh yeah, I know she would be probably quite shocked if she came back from yeah, to see where I've got to, because she hasn't seen me like this. I'd already started to make a few improvements when I last saw her, but I think, hang on. Should be able to hear me now. I might just get going back now, actually. Yeah, like I said, I was just gonna do like I'll do a few more bits of stuff later, but yeah, so I got a few bits done, so I'll just go back for a bit, just chat with you guys. Yeah. Hope you've had a blessed day, everybody. Got 7 people in the house. Hope you're all well. So yeah, just feel free to ask questions, everyone. I don't know what I'm doing tomorrow, but not really got any plans. I'm thinking about starting my travels, but I was like I said, I want to try and see if I can get some funding. But maybe I should just do some busking, I don't know, just trying to figure out what the best going forward is going to be. So I just need to get out, bumbling, like, yeah, thinking, you know, if people want to help me out, if they want to help to fund certain things, like if they want to help fund, you know, sort of like trips, like say I could go to like around the castles and different things, people could help to make that happen, you know, like be like crowdfunded, and yeah, and people might be, oh, you should fund it yourself. Well, this is for you guys too, so you know. So it's about kind of like, yeah, that we sort of like help, we should all be helping out really. Anyway, just hope you've all had a blessed day, everyone. I know I keep kind of repeating myself, but yeah, it's been a bit cool this evening, so I don't mind it like this actually. I think my mum's probably going to prefer it like this really, if it's the same where you are. I know my mum doesn't really like hot weather too much since she's put on a lot of weight, but I think once you lose the weight, then probably like the hot weather again, or more than you do now anyway. So yeah, who's still in here anyway? I've got 6 people in the house. How's everybody doing? Thank you for the 8 likes. Just having to kind of walk back to my place now, and yeah. Oh, thank you, man, for the super sticker. Yeah. Hopefully, maybe that helps it get it pushed out. I don't know. But it probably doesn't. I don't know if it really helps that much, but you did send some the other day, and it was like I got over 800 views, but most of these people don't really stick around though. I'm still here, better on phone, died though till I get home tonight. Oh, fair enough, you're still out, right? Your work, you say? But yeah, just I'm enjoying cooler weather as much. Thursday onward, warm. Alright. It was supposed to be warm today, wasn't it? But it was at times, but it was saying it was supposed to be in the 20s again. I think like it was supposed to get up to like, what, 23 or something? I don't know. But it hasn't felt as warm today, for the most part. It's been a bit, we had a bit where the sun came out, and then it was quite warm, but yeah. But we're supposed to get like good weather for the rest of the week or something. I don't know. It just keeps changing its mind though, so who knows what's going to happen. But depending on if the sun's out or not, like let's say it's 20 degrees, it can either feel like 20 or it can feel like 30, depending on if the sun's out. It makes all the difference. Yeah, I'm not doing tests, and yeah, anything on, you know, so unnatural like that. Like, I mean, there's all this stuff about tests. It's like I'm already doing creatine. And I'm like, I mean, well, the body stores creatine like naturally, but with tests, it's like if you put it into super physiological levels, then to me that's just cheating your body. I'd rather just stay at a natural level of testosterone. Yeah, I don't know why people keep on like trying to promote tests or human growth hormone as like it's some kind of just creatine. It's like, you know, there could be unintended consequences of these things, you know. I mean, creatine itself, I've heard like if you have predisposition to hair loss, that could actually accelerate it. But yeah, so I don't know why you're coming in here and like trying to promote that stuff. It's telling me to get the best results to get to take test. I mean, yeah, because I had someone the other day trying to go on about growth hormone. A lot of these guys, they go on steroids or whatever, and or even TRT. You could say it's like a low dose of a steroid. You could argue it's not as bad, but it's still, you know, if you're messing around with your hormones and stuff, I would consider that as like a mini cycle in a lot of cases. Like Alex Eubank, for example, you know, he's bumped his test up to super physiological levels. So that ain't some kind of TRT. He was like, oh, well, I was feeling like shit when I was lean. I think he was just trying to make excuses there, and just so he could get his test up to some really high level. I understand there's a lot of pressure in the fitness things where it's like you need to, you know, feel like these people feel like they need to be at a certain level, like of fitness, and it's all bullshit. It's like I said earlier, this whole fitness isn't actually fitness, it's just aesthetics, which in a lot of cases is anti-fitness. It's actually against what really being fit is about, because some of them promote unhealthy levels of body fat, which oftentimes these people are going to struggle with recovery. They're going to feel like crap, low energy, low mood. That's not fitness to me, is it, you know? So it's like they've lost all the meaning of what fitness even is. Because when I picture fitness, I'm not thinking of some roided out bodybuilder. I'm thinking of someone who's athletic, someone who, like a swimmer, or, you know, like someone who can do, you know, kind of like track and field or things like that, you know, rowing, or, you know, Olympic Games, things like that, where for the most part they tend to be, you know, they're in pretty good shape, but they're not excessive. So yeah, so when I hear this thing of, you know, when they're going about men's fitness or whatever, or women's fitness, it's all just about how they look for the most part, I think. And yeah, you know, when you're calling yourself a fitness channel, but yet you never do any cardio, it's like, I just think it's a joke, really. I mean, you've got people like the Fitness Hutch, for example. No disrespect to him, but he says he hates cardio, and he just does walking for cardio. But if you don't have that cardio endurance, you know, kind of like health and all that, then can you really call yourself fit? Like, if you can't run a mile without getting out of breath, are you really fit? Yeah, you can lift all these weights and stuff, but are you actually fit though? You know? So I think it's a bit kind of, I don't know. But then again, like, I put #athlete in my thing, so, you know, but you could say, well, technically I'm not an athlete because I'm not competing or something, but I'm actually competing against myself, so constantly competing to be better than I was yesterday. Every day become 1% better than you were yesterday. That's what they say, you know. Well, I think most people would be out of breath running a mile. I'm talking about just jogging it or something, just going at like a kind of steady pace, and they're still getting out of breath. But I mean, if that's the case, then most people ain't that fit, you know. I can run a mile in 7 minutes. Well, I used to be able to. Yeah, I think my record's about just over 6 minutes, I think. But yeah, because once I did like 1.37 miles, and I averaged paced that at 6:25. So yeah, but I'm not really that into doing that stuff, just because it's a lot of like pressure. Yeah. But I've done like longer and stuff as well, but I ended up messing up my toenail actually doing that. Actually, because my toenails grew too long, and it lifted it with all the impact on it. So the lesson learned is, yeah, keep your toenails short if you're doing running. But the point is that I think the average guy, it's something like 10 minutes, or maybe just under, for like a mile. So I would say you're probably not really fit unless you can run a mile in under like maybe 8 minutes or something like that. Because otherwise you're not really doing much better than the average guy. Alright, we're back. But I was just saying about the whole fitness thing. Like, you know, if you're struggling with like cardio and stuff, then are you really fit? Because let's say some real life scenario cropped up that required you to be able to have a certain level of stamina. Are you going to be able to deal with it? This is what I mean. Functional fitness. To me, it's the only real fitness. To me, anything else is just vanity, or it's just about, a lot of it is vanity. It's all about, you know, kind of trying to be, you know, like ego or whatever, and being the best in a certain field, as opposed to being generally pretty good across the board. And you can say about people's different goals and stuff, but being one-dimensional isn't, to me, it. Like, it's, I'd say it's about fitness across the board. Like, if you have, say, like, you know, 8 points on one thing, but then you're like a 3 at everything else, then are you actually really fit then? Versus, you know, if you're like 7 across the board, you know, I think that person's a lot more well-rounded. You know, being a 7 across the board versus being an 8 or a 9 at one, or even a 10 at one particular thing, and being a 3 at everything else. You know, it's just you know, it's like you know, what's your mobility like? What's your, you know, there's other things, you know, like what's your stability like? I mean, yeah, your stability can improve if you're doing like free weights and stuff, but there is limitations of that. And, you know, do you do any like unilateral exercises to further improve your stability and your balance? You know, this is what I mean. It's like, because if all you're doing is focusing on purely just trying to get bigger and stronger, then I think you're just missing out on a lot there. So how are we doing tonight, people? I hope you're all well. Feel free to ask questions. Hello, Glitch, how are you doing? So I've just been having a bit of a rant about fitness. You know, when people, you know, going about fitness, but yet they're not really what I would consider as fit. Like I said, if they can't run a mile without getting out of breath, are you really fit? If you can't, you know, run up a flight of stairs without getting out of breath, are you fit? I don't think so. I mean, to me that should be a benchmark of like, you know, if you can, you know, perform at a certain level. There was this like fitness test that was a bit ridiculous though, because it was suggesting that people do, you know, 100 bodyweight squats, which is a fair thing to be able to do, but then also tell people that they should be able to do some crazy running time, as well as clean and jerk, what was it, 1.5 times their body weight or something crazy. So it didn't make any sense, but because I don't think there's very many people that can do all of those things, if any. Definitely not if you can't run a mile without
gasping for breath, huge red flag. Yeah, exactly. Because it's like some of these like people that are into fitness, they're just bodybuilders, and they hate cardio. A lot of them, they're like, they'll just do walking on a treadmill because it's easy. They won't do any like, a lot of them won't do, running on a treadmill or anything like that, or they probably wouldn't even do like a rowing machine or cycle on a bike, quite hard, because they probably don't like that kind of stuff. But then can you really call yourself fit? Yeah, that's it, call yourself a fitness fanatic, but really you're just a bodybuilder who just wants to get in shape. But, and that's fine. If that's your goal, that's fine. But then again, I put hashtag athlete in my last post, but I guess what does an athlete mean? Let's have a look at that, Am I being disingenuous by doing that, But if you literally have it in your channel name as being fitness, then yeah. I don't know, it's, yeah, so say you do fitness. I'm just trying to dig out my swimming costume, struggling to exercise with arthritis and knee. Swimming be the perfect non-weight bearing exercise. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, it's good for that. You could also maybe try out on the rowing machine and see how you get on with that, because that one is also good for like, actually, I don't know about that. Maybe you could do that, but it depends if you can fully like flex your legs or something. But yeah, rowing machine might be worth a try. That also works out a lot of different muscles. Like if you're doing it super like hard, I actually wouldn't recommend going too hard. If you're trying to lose weight, then going a bit easy can be a good idea, because that way you tap into fat stores more so than, say, if you're doing like intervals and stuff, going really super hard. That's going to tap more into glycogen, and then your body's going to feel depleted and need to replenish the glycogen. So that might be why people get more hungry after a workout, because their glycogen is depleted. And yeah, and then the body's like, we need to signal hunger, so that way we need to replace the lost glycogen, because we need constant glycogen stores, whereas with fat stores, we keep the fat for a lot longer. So yeah, not sure if the audio is cracking for anyone else, I don't know, but it's just cause it's got a lot of problems on the air sometimes, but whatever, can't really help it. Just gotta deal with it, But yeah, whatever. But yeah, there's just a lot of like kind of like bias towards physique and aesthetics when it comes to so-called fitness. But a lot of them don't have the conditioning for like real life scenarios. So what real life scenario are you gonna like pick up a 100, 200 kilo barbell and then put it back down? Like usually you'll carry something, let's say you carry something 30 kilograms, whatever, move it somewhere else, put it down, and then you would go back, carry it, just constantly going back and forth. It's going to require a lot more like cardiovascular conditioning and endurance. So when it comes to real life scenarios, it's just, I don't see it as functional. But yeah, people being open about like kind of, oh, functional fitness is a scam. It's like, well, to me it's the only real form of fitness. Yeah, so because it's about being able to be well-rounded and being able to carry out real-life tasks. So you want to do things that mimic those tasks to get better at them. If you want to be more functional. So doing things like sled push, I would say, is a good one, because you're going to get a mixture of like cardiovascular fitness as well as some strength as well, because you need to have that strength to be able to push it. So you got things like medicine ball slams. There's these sort of exercises that will, they're quite functional exercises. It's using the body's functions in a more natural kind of way that it'll probably give you more translatability into an actual real life situation. Like if we need to throw something or something like that, and we're, yeah, it's just, yeah, anyway, I digress. It's just, anyway, how you doing, runner boy? So, yeah, I've just been kind of like going on about, like, you know, functional training and my thoughts on like how it's really the only true form of fitness, because it's about training in a sense that's more for like real life scenarios, like if you can run, you know, without getting out of breath, if you can, you know, push an object away for like 100 meters or something like that, or you can say, you know, climb a massive flight of stairs, or, you know, there's a lot of examples of things, but the thing with like deadlifts is that, yeah, you can get stronger and all that, but it's like, it's not very natural to be like going to that level with the barbell. Like the barbell itself is not natural. Usually if we're lifting something heavy, we'd have to go down, like kind of, we'd have to do this kind of motion, try to get more of like the biceps involved to like kind of like lift it up. Like you say, lifting a log, like heavy log off the floor. Like you're not going to be able to lift it up the same way that you would lift, you know, with like deadlift. So it's very yeah, it's a very specific thing. Like when it comes to a lot of these, are you going to the park? I've just been. Maybe I should restart the live, but yeah, in fact, I'm gonna do that, guys, because I've already been. I just did a mini workout tonight, but I've come back and yeah, I just didn't really feel like going as hard tonight. I just kind of, but I did get a record on one thing, on this machine thing that I did, but yeah, the sandbag's a good form of training because it's more of a real life kind of thing, because it's like with, you know, things like, what is it, the Atlas stones and stuff like that. Atlas stones. But yeah, it's just, I'm not saying you should only do functional stuff, but like, I think it's good to incorporate that in for more like well-rounded fitness. And yeah, otherwise you've got these like very specific things that don't apply well to real life scenarios. Like for example, like if you, like with your pressing movements, apparently, right, if you're trying to press something away from you that's greater than your body weight, it would actually push you back or something. So, but what we would be better off maybe doing is, for like fitness, is trying to improve on to have more endurance with a certain amount of weight, like strength endurance. Can diarrhea remove my gain? Well, is this a serious question or something? I mean, if you're not eating food, then you're not going to be building muscle. You're going to probably end up losing a bunch if you're not eating enough. So if that's what you mean, then yeah, you can. If you don't replenish your protein and all that, if you're in a negative nitrogen balance, then you're going to end up losing muscle. So you have to make sure that you're in in like a neutral to positive nitrogen balance to maintain or to improve muscle mass. So anyway, I'm gonna restart the live, I think, but yeah. All right, guys.